Hello everyone, my name is Vanessa and I am back to finish reading chapter 19. There's only about 10 pages left and chapter 19 is called Admitted and Non-Admitted Weather Warfare from 1952 until the present. And I am going to begin on page 528. And before I do that, I just want to let you know that on this channel, the name of my channel is called Gnostic Knowledge, and what I am doing on this channel is simply reading from a book, and the name of that book is called Letters and Numbers. And it is written by Zachry K. Hubbard, and the book is phenomenal. The book is eye-opening. The book is, man, it is just, I can't say enough about this book. And I will say it forever. Every human being on this planet needs to know this information. The information is nothing for you to believe in. This information proves itself. You know, all you have to do is read it, understand it. But you can get a copy of the book Letters and Numbers by visiting Zachry K. Hubbard's YouTube channels, Gematria Effect News, as well as Gematria Effect Sports. And in the description of each of the videos that he produces, he leaves a link for you to purchase the book. The price of the book is $5, the best $5 you'll ever spend in your life, because the information that is contained in this book, you will not get this information anywhere else. And it is information that is life-changing, mind-changing. Everyone needs to know this information and then make up their own minds, as opposed to having, like over half of my life being led around by the nose. You can see what's going on. You don't have to guess anymore. Gematria takes all the guesswork out of what the powers that shouldn't be are doing. And that's why I'm so glad this young man broke the code and he wrote this book, and he's made it available for $5. Oh my word, you can't, man. Anywho, this book will come to you as a PDF file via email. And Zachry K. Hubbard left the copyright off this book, so you can take it and have it bound into a book if you like. Take it to your local bindery, or you can upload it to lulu.com. You could print out the book yourself, but when you upload it to lulu.com, they will bind it into a book and mail it back to you. Or like I said, you can print it out, and keeping it as an electronic file format is also good, because there's over 700 pages in this book. So looking for information, keeping it as a PDF file makes it really easy to find the information. Zachry K. Hubbard also wrote a second book, and it's called Number Games, and I pre-ordered my book weeks ago, so I finally got my copy about a week or so ago. And it is about 9/11 to coronavirus. And it is just amazing. The information in here is amazing as well. You can get this book, like I said, it's on Amazon now on the pre-order list, and it's on the best-selling list right now for pre-orders. And it'll be shipped out on October 13th. And if you don't want to wait, or if you don't want to order from Amazon, you can order the book directly from Zachry K. Hubbard by visiting gematriaeffectnews.blogspot.com. That is his blog page, and the first thing you see when you arrive at that page is the advertising for the book Number Games. And as you scroll down, you will see the instructions on how to purchase the book within the United States and abroad. Also read the blogs on gematriaeffectnews.blogspot.com. Also visit his previous blog page, freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. He's been blogging there for over 5 years. He has massive amount of content there for you to read and get more acquainted with what gematria is, and that's what Letters and Numbers is about. Gematria. Gematria is the encoding of numbers within our letters and words. Every word we speak has a numerical value. The more you delve into this information, the more you will understand what I am talking about. So, without further ado, I am going to continue with chapter 19, Admitted and Non-Admitted Weather Warfare from 1952 until now. And I am on page 528, and I will continue. I just finished, I think in the last upload was about the Great Chicago Fire. I don't know why I want to keep saying fair, but it's the Great Chicago Fire. Now, moving on. The city of Philadelphia was established in history on a date with numerology of 135, October 27, 1682, and is the original home of the Warriors. Okay, in the Bible, the Church of Philadelphia is mentioned in regards to the Key of David, a phrase having ordinal gematria of 135 as well. For one more 135, the Cavs would fall to 13-5, losing in Chicago in a game totaling 216 points. Like the Cleveland area code 216, the same night as the fire at 1305 31st Avenue. So, Oakland equates to 31 in reduction, K counted as 11. Basketball equates to 31 in reduction, S counted as 10. Hours after the fire began, the story of the first survivor would emerge. A red-bearded man, a fire crotch, named Joel Shanahan, Shanahan, Joel Shanahan. The name Joel, of course, should jump out at you. Let us now decode his name, keeping in mind that the Great Chicago Fire began October 8th or 10/8 once upon a time. Joel Shanahan equates to 108 in ordinal. Joel Shanahan equates to 216 reverse ordinal, and 216 is the product of 6 times 6 times 6. Later that year, as the NBA Finals were underway, after Game 2 on June 5, 2017, headlines would emerge that the first arrests were made in connection to the December 2nd, 2016 warehouse fires. This was exactly 185 days after the fire, and not by coincidence. Basketball equates to 185 reverse reduction. Mathematics equates to 185 reverse ordinal. And I'm sorry, basketball is 185 in reverse ordinal. Mathematics, 185 reverse ordinal. Warehouse equates to 56 reverse reduction. H counted as 10. June 5th or 5/6 arrest. The arrest came on 5/6. Okay. Please consider how sick all of this is, and at the same time realize it is your tax dollars at work, paying for the firemen to set the fires, and then the firemen to put out the fires. This is what we slave for in this nation, to be terrorized, and then to pay $20 for a soda, fries, and sandwich at a rigged sports game. I challenge you to go through history and decode the tragedies you remember and the sports games you recall. You'll see it has always been this way, no exceptions. If it was in the news, it was the work of the Masonic Mafia. What we have uncovered thus far is just the tip of the iceberg. Also, in light of the riddles with Joel, let us examine the Billy Joel song, "We Didn't Start the Fire," which released on the Jesuit order's birthday, September 27, 1989, a fitting date showing who we is in the title of the song. 9/27/1989 equates to 144. Jesuit order equates to 144 in ordinal. You sucker. So the date 9/27/1989, you would add 9 plus 27 plus 19 plus 89. That equates to 144. Consider the Jesuit order are the Masons within the Catholic Church. Knowing that, I want to show you what's so funny about Dolly Parton's song, about Dolly Parton singing Jolene with Miley Cyrus, who was born November 23rd, 1992, and turning 24 years old the day of the Tennessee fire. She turned 24 the day of the Tennessee wildfire. As we decode, let us not forget, the sun has reduction gematria of 24. The sun, THESUN, has reduction gematria of 24. The ball of fire in the sky that also symbolizes Jesus, which the Society of Jesus knows so well, and which they strive to be like, setting fires of their own like deranged lunatics. Dolly Parton equates to 145 in reverse ordinal. Catholic equates to 145 reverse ordinal, and the date 11/23/1992, you would add 11 plus 23 plus 19 plus 92 equates to 145. And here's a headline. It says, Billy Joel wears a yellow Star of David at his New York concert. Okay, and that was published August 22nd, 2017. As a reminder, the false Jews, who are the synagogue of Satan, control the Catholic Church. On August 21st, 2017, the date of the total eclipse in the United States, Billy Joel, their minion, would perform his 44th concert at Madison Square Garden, MSG, like salt, but Madison Square Garden, MSG, in New York, making national news for wearing a yellow Star of David, reminding of World War II, the Great War. As we decode the name Billy Joel and the acronym MSG, please don't forget that Israel and Zion share gematria of 44. So Billy Joel equates to 39 in reduction, MSG equates to 39 in ordinal, and eclipse equates to 39 reverse reduction. What I want you to understand is everything taking place that comes through the Zionist-controlled media is ritual by the code, which I cannot emphasize enough. There is no celebrity who is anything more than a minion of the gang. They are a minion of the gang, no matter who they are. There is no celebrity who is anything more than a minion of the gang. When Billy Joel's song was released way back then on September 27, 1989, these tyrants had everything we're living now planned out. These people planned centuries of wrongdoing, mapped out in accordance with the stars, which is why Joel was wearing a yellow Star of David on the day that our newest star was eclipsed our nearest star was eclipsed by the moon, which the Jews identified through. Consider further that New York City has reverse reduction gematria of 57, matching the ordinal gematria of moon and Jews. Speaking of which, I should remind that Big Ben was shut down for 4 years of clockwork on this same date in England. Big Ben equates to 39 in ordinal. Clockwork equates to 39 in reduction. Let us now transition to earthquakes by the code, and we'll begin with a very memorable one, also connected to the Bay Area and the world of rigged sports, and then work forward from there. The incident I am speaking to is the October 17th, 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake, which struck at 5:04 p.m. local, and to date is the only earthquake to be captured on live television. The reason it was captured was because it took place during the coverage of the 86th World Series, which was set to begin 31 minutes later in Oakland. Oakland equals 31 in reduction. K equates to 11. It was supposed to begin at 31 minutes later at 5:35 p.m. in Oakland. Okay, local, and earthquake equates to 53 5:35. Okay, reduction, and earthquake equates to 53 in reduction. K equates to 11. When the earthquake began, a replay was being shown from Game 2 of the World Series, played 2 days prior, and the last image shown for the cameras, shown before the cameras failed due to the quake, was number 33, Jose Canseco, crossing home plate, and I will show you that picture. Oh, why did you close? Hang on. I'm about to get ready to start the video because this my iPad froze and then closed out. But here we go. Sorry about this. So I'm gonna show you Jose Canseco, number 33, and that's the picture of Jose Canseco, and that was the last image shown on TV after the earthquake took place. Okay. So, and here we go. Not by chance, Jose Canseco, born Jose Canseco Capus Jr., had turned 25 years old exactly 107 days earlier, July 2nd, 1989, being born in 1964. Let us examine how the number 107, which is connected to military, also coordinates with earthquake, as well as number 33's name, plus more. As we decode, keep in mind Earth has reduction gematria of 25, like his age. So, Jose Canseco Capus Jr. equates to 107 reverse reduction. Earthquake equates to 107 in ordinal. Baseball equates to 107 in Frank Baconis. Jose Canseco Capus Jr. equates to 55 in reduction. Earthquake equates to 55 reverse reduction. As for the earthquake coming at 5:04 p.m., just before a baseball game, the riddle was clear. Baseball equates to 54 in ordinal. Baseball equates to 54 reverse reduction. MLB equates to 54 reverse ordinal. Major League equates to 45 in reduction, the reflection of 54. 45 written as a word equates to 44 in reduction. 45 equates to 45 written as a word equates to 45 in reverse reduction as well. 54 equates to 54 written as a word equates to 54 in reduction. 54 written as a word equates to 45 reverse reduction. The word 54 sums to 45 in septenary and Chaldean as well. Don't forget that gematria is geometry in language, and how the word gematrio relates. As for the date of the earthquake happened, the earthquake happened, it was October 17th, leaving 75 days left in the year, making it perfect for a World Series. Loma Prieta earthquake equates to 75 in septenary. World Series equates to 75 in reduction. S counted as 10. The name Loma Prieta alone also factors into the 162 game MLB season. Loma Prieta equates to 162 in Francis Bacon. Baseball equates to 162 in reverse ordinal. Major League Baseball equates to 162 in ordinal. MLB equates to 162 in the Sumerian cipher. In light of it being number 33, crossing home plate in the replay as the earthquake began, I want to revisit the Trinity test of July 16, 1945, where the first nuclear bomb was detonated in the 47th state, New Mexico, on the 33rd parallel north, after being ordered by the 33rd President Truman, which the Jim Carrey movie was made in tribute to The Truman Show. Of course, it was President Truman who not only ordered the detonating of nuclear bombs, but the surveillance of Americans with the CIA, NSA, and more, which the film is about. A man who is always under the watchful eye of Big Brother, similar to how America is always having its mind's eye programmed by the television. As we decode, understand, there are thousands of bombs planted under our feet across the world that are waiting for their appropriate time to be detonated in the planned rituals to come, and that will come unless we defeat the synagogue of Satan, which can be done in an evening if the American males get off their fat asses. Shut up, Zach. He said, I gotta reread this because, yes, this is a great part. As we decode, understand, there are thousands of bombs planted under our feet across the world that are waiting for their appropriate time to be detonated in the planned rituals to come, and that will come unless we defeat the synagogue of Satan, which can be done in an evening if the American males get their fat asses off the couch and give up the pathetically rigged games that shouldn't fool anyone with half a brain. Also, as we decode, keep in mind July 16th was the 197th day of the year of 1945, and 197 is the 45th prime. But you're right, Zach. Man, this is just crazy, and I just hope the American people just wake up and in one day say, hey, enough is enough. So the word ritual equates to 45 reverse reduction. Major League equates to 45 in reduction. Trinity equates to 47 reverse reduction. Loma Prieta equates to 47 in reduction. For another point about the Trinity test, which was an evolution of the Manhattan Project, I want to point out that July 16th is the day leaving 168 days left in the year, and New York City has ordinal gematria of 168. As we learned earlier, Manhattan also has ordinal gematria of 92, and the underground weapons testing program was brought to an end in 92, 3 years after this earthquake. As for Jose Canseco, his birth numerology being born July 2nd, 1964, also equated to 92. So the date 7/2/1964, you add 7 plus 2 plus 19 plus 64, that equates to 92. Manhattan equates to 92 in ordinal. Fear equates to 92 Jewish gematria. Jose Canseco equates to 33 in the septenary cipher, and he wore number 33. Jose Canseco equates to 38 Chaldean. Earthquake equates to 163 reverse ordinal, the 38th prime. Candlestick equates to 38 in reduction. Location of October 17th World Series game. Oh man. In light of the riddles with New York and the Manhattan Project. You will recall the World Series after September 11, 2001 was played in New York, and the World Series just before the event was the New York Yankees and the New York Mets. As we covered earlier, the name Ground Zero meant the spot above or below Earth where an atomic or nuclear weapon detonates, before it also became part of the definition for the site of the September 11th attacks, where the buildings were brought down by bombs planted beneath the ground like many years in advance, as discussed in the chapter on 9/11. Moving forward, rather than break down every suspicious earthquake in the history of the world, I will give you the knowledge to see through the next one. Before we get to that, I want to make clear that earthquakes do occur naturally every day on this earth. That said, oftentimes they are very suspicious, such as the October 17th, 1989 incident. The next time one of these curious quakes arises, what you will want to do is decode the location of the earthquake, examine the coordinates of the epicenter, and decode the date numerology as well. More often than not, suspicious earthquakes will take place on a date with numerology of 44 and not by coincidence. As we learned, this is a military number connected to HAARP, H-A-A-R-P, the military technology that has been in operation since 1993 and which has the ability to target powerful waves of energy to locations of the earth, triggering earthquakes. Not by coincidence, the word earthquake also shares gematria of 44. So, yes, earthquake equates to 44 in the reduction cipher. Speaking of suspicious incidents and HAARP, a military facility originally established in Gakona, 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 Alaska in 93. Let us examine the March 11, 2011 Fukushima, Japan earthquake and nuclear disaster. Wow. I'm going to read that one more time. Speaking of suspicious incidents and HAARP, a military facility originally established in Gakona, Alaska in 93. Let us examine the March 11th, 2011 Fukushima, Japan earthquake and nuclear disaster. And I remember being home when this earthquake took place, when it came on TV live. I was home, and I watched it on news. Look, it was devastating. That was crazy. But I even to this day will go back and watch some of that footage, and just to know how it plays out, it's crazy. It's just knowing this knowledge now. Man, it's amazing. But anywho, Gakona equates to 113 reverse ordinal. March 11 incident or 11/3, 113. Japan equates to 93 reverse ordinal. Come on, to the next page. The location of Fukushima, Japan was also right just south of the 38th parallel north, the same as San Francisco, where the 89 quake took place. Again, earthquake has reverse ordinal gematria of 163, the 38th prime. Let us now examine the gematria of the location, admiring how it connects to earthquakes. So, Fukushima equates to 53 reverse reduction. Earthquake equates to 53 in reduction. K equates to 11. Nuclear fallout equates to 53 in reduction. Fukushima equates to 109 in ordinal. Military equates to 109 reverse ordinal. Chernobyl disaster equates to 109 reverse reduction. H equates to 10. Fukushima equates to 134 reverse ordinal. 134 is a number of destruction. Fukushima, Japan equates to 227. Reverse ordinal. Fukushima, Japan equates to 52 in reduction. Earth equates to 52 and 227. Wow. The earthquake of March 11th, 2011 was said to be the worst in the history of Japan and the fourth worst in the world since earthquake measurements began in 1900. In the wake of the quake, the primary concern became the nuclear waste being released from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, which eventually surpassed the prior worst nuclear contamination incident, the Chernobyl disaster of April 26, 1986. Don't overlook the date of the Chernobyl event, starting with the year 86, in light of August 6, 1945, in light of the August 6, 1945 bombing of Hiroshima. Man, these people. As for April 26, it was the 116th day of the year, and nuclear war sums to 116 in ordinal gematria. Of course, it was Japan that the bomb was dropped on, and which dealt with the radiation fallout, which led to the Cold War between the United States and Russia, the latter nation being where Chernobyl occurred. In both the Chernobyl nuclear meltdown and the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear meltdown, it was reactor 4 that was to blame. Thus, 4 and 4, something like the number 44, something like military, and also corresponding with the reduction gematria of nuclear war. I'll tell you now, this is obviously no coincidence, and you should know that for yourself. Again, it is a reminder that the New World Order is large and in charge in their riddles, and their riddles are always numerological in their orientation. In Asian cultures, the number 4 carries a superstition because in Mandarin Chinese, the word is pronounced the same as death. Can you imagine what the people holding this superstition were thinking as the news broke about Reactor 4 at the plant in Fukushima? Here in the United States, on the West Coast, where I reside in Seattle, and that is where I live in Renton, where I reside in Seattle, we are being told to go out and buy potassium iodide tablets and to take them to lessen the damage from the nuclear fallout, which will soon be impacting us in our rainwater and possibly drinking water. It's interesting to note that the abbreviation for potassium iodide is Ki, which is the 11th letter and the 9th letter. Man, 119. But here we are again, a major earthquake and nuclear riddles coming right alongside it, but very few people connecting the dots to history's past, which is something that needs to change. To make sure you are following, I'm telling you now, the earthquake of Fukushima was the work of purposefully detonated bombs that were made to impact the nuclear facility that it did, where it is entirely possible more foul play went on to make sure there would be the nuclear fallout the world has since experienced. More evidence that this was the case came on November 18th, 2013, the 322nd day of the year. The number corresponding with military industrial complex plus more, including Masonic fraternity, Yale's Skull and Bones. I should mention that November 18th leaves 43 days left in the year, and Yale, as well as New Haven, CT, Connecticut, Both have gematria of 43, reminding that Bonesman alumni George W. Bush was the 43rd President of the United States. Even more appropriate, the word nuclear has reverse reduction gematria of 43, and this was the start of the nuclear catastrophe cleanup at Reactor 4 of the Fukushima plant, which was 983 days after the earthquake, and 983 is the 166th prime connecting to the gematria of secret society plus more. This nuclear scare and the threat posted to humanity reminds of an event that happened on a similar date in history, March 22nd, 1980, when the Georgia Guidestones were erected, standing 19 feet 3 inches tall, something like 193, the 44th prime, corresponding with the reduction gematria of Georgia, the state they're found in, and the message on the stones. Man, in 2012, I went to see the Georgia Guidestones with my own eyes. I drove to South Carolina. Then my sister and nephew, we went to Atlanta, but before we got to Atlanta, we stopped in the area to see the Georgia Guidestones. I have a lot of pictures of those. Maybe one of these days I'll post them up to on my YouTube channel, but I did go see the Georgia Guidestones, and this was before I knew about gematria, and before I knew about Zachry Hubbard, but I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what. Now I do. Gematria exposes everything. But anyway, and I'm going to reread this because I want to make sure I get this one correct, because all the information is important, but the Georgia Guidestones, man. Okay, this nuclear scare and the threat posted to humanity reminds of an event that happened on a similar date in history, March 22nd, 322, March 22nd, 1980, when the Georgia Guidestones were erected, standing 19 feet 3 inches tall, something like 193, the 44th prime, corresponding with the reduction gematria of Georgia, the state they're found in, and the message on the stones. On these massive stone pillars, printed in 8 languages, English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian, are 10 rules, some of which are very concerning, as follows, okay? Number 1, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Why can't we have that today? Lying bastards. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. You'll notice the first rule says maintain the population at 500 million, which is drastically less people than we have now, said to be somewhere near 7 billion. To reach that amount, 13 out of every 14 living people would have to die. You'll also notice the last rule says leave room for nature and be not a Cancer. As you have learned, Cancer has gematria of 44 and 118, numbers connected to death and killing, and corresponding with the location as well as the height. These stones are located in Elbert County, Georgia, having gematria of 96, corresponding with Freemason. The name etched on the stones, R.C. Christian, also has gematria of 59, corresponding with the gematria of Freemason in English and in Hebrew, as well as the gematria of Killer. Speaking of the number 118, symbolizing death in Jewish gematria and Cancer in reverse ordinal, let us examine the date Fukushima's nuclear plant construction began, which is now spreading harmful radiation across the waters of the world that will no doubt affect many people's health with cancer and more, cutting untold amounts of lives short. We'll also examine the commission date because it is equally as interesting. So, construction start date was July 25th, 1967. So, you would add 7 plus 25 plus 19 plus 67 equals 118, the death number. Commission date 3/26/1972. You would add 3 plus 26 plus 19 plus 71 equates to 119. If you pay attention, you'll notice many of the suspicious earthquakes, hurricanes, and floods in this world target poorer populations all across the globe. Of course, these are the people the tyrants want to murder first because they have little economic benefit to their ongoing agenda. As you know, for the banker warmongers who rule over us, it all comes back to dollars and cents. In that breath, let us now visit the two very suspicious earthquakes that attacked Mexico and killed thousands of people while displacing many more, especially in Mexico City, one of the poorest and most populated cities in the entire world. We'll begin with the Chiapas. I'm going to spell it. Chiapas, Chiapas earthquake of September 7th, 2017. And Chiapas, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I'm sorry for butchering the word, but Chiapas earthquake. Chiapas earthquake equates to 97 reverse reduction. And the date 9/7. Okay? Keep in mind, 97 is the 25th prime number. Earth equates to 25 in reduction. Chiapas earthquake equates to 74 in reduction. Keep in mind, nuclear and energy have ordinal gematria of 74. The date 9/7/17, you add 9 plus 7 plus 17, that equates to 33. Mexico equates to 33 in reduction. The date 9/7/2017, you add 9 plus 7 plus 20 plus 17, that equates to 53. Earthquake equates to 53 in reduction. K counted as 11. So, magnitude 8.1 earthquake hits off Mexico's southern coast. Notice the earthquake was said to be an 8.1, not too far off from 81, the number representing ritual. It also corresponded with the gematria of southern Mexico, summing to 81. Notice further, the coordinate of the epicenter was the 93rd meridian west, and Mexico has reversed ordinal gematria of 93, a number connecting to atomic bomb. Again, it was atomic and nuclear weapons that were tested underground for more than 40 years by Mexico's northern neighbor, the USA, spanning from 1951 to 1992, just before the 93 WTC World Trade Center bombing. Also noteworthy is that September 7th leaves 115 days left in the year, the number connecting to Masonic and killing. 12 days after the September 7th quake, September 19, 2017, Mexico City would be rocked again with a powerful 7.1 magnitude earthquake that had an epicenter reportedly 93 miles outside of the city. Thousands of people would lose their homes and many others would lose their lives. This earthquake came on the 32nd year anniversary of what is known as the September 19th, 1985 Temblor, 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 where Temblor has ordinal gematria of 85. The morning of the quake, before it transpired, the President of Mexico urged his people to practice an earthquake drill, speaking of the recent quake days earlier and the Temblor that happened 32 years earlier. Just hours after that address, the ground would tremble. What I want the people of Mexico to know who lost their homes in this planned disaster is the word bomb has ordinal gematria of 32 and the word America has reduction gematria of 32. As for the earthquake being a 7.1 in magnitude, both 71, written as a word, and Mexico City, when written out, have gematria of 144, connecting to time and killer. Of course, it is Saturn, summing to 93, that is the keeper of time, which the tyrants worship, because to them it symbolizes Satan. For one last point on the September 19th earthquake, the words quake and chaos have gematria of 19. Same with the city name Puebla, Puebla, where the epicenter was located on the 19th. Another noteworthy ground rattling in Mexico came on February 16, 2018. CNN's Ralph Ellis and Myra Cuevas, 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 reported that the February 16, 216 earthquake was 216 miles from Mexico City, and also detailed at least 216 people had died in the September 19th incident. Making matters even more interesting, it came a span of 216 days from the 33-year anniversary of the deadly September 19, 1985 earthquake, which was to be September 19, 2018. The reason this matters is because the scientist Nikola Tesla once stated he had the technology to make the ground tremble and could even split the crust of the earth. Consider the name Tesla has Jewish gematria of 216, which was the same number emphasized in the story and coinciding with the date. So Tesla equates to 216 in Jewish gematria. Tesla equates to 33 reverse reduction. Going back in time to the Mexico City quakes, coming 32 years to the day apart, were the April 2nd, 1957 and the April 3rd, 2012 tornadoes of Dallas, Texas. In both instances, they were historic, unprecedented, and extremely similar in terms of their destructive power. With regards to the April 2nd, 1957 tornado, it was an environmental wonder, becoming the most photographed and videotaped tornado in the history of the world, allowing science to make discoveries about tornadoes as never before achieved, largely due to how slowly the massive cyclone moved across the Texas terrain. Consider that 1957 was just 5 years after the admission by the Royal Air Force of weather warfare in the skies above the United Kingdom. With regards to the April 3rd, 2012 tornadoes, expert meteorologist Henry Margusity, Margusity, he had this to say: I have never seen two tornadoes hit two large metropolitan areas at the same time before. He was referring to their impact on Dallas and Fort Worth. Of course, the reason he had never seen such a thing is because until that day, the tyrants hadn't yet unleashed such an attack. Further notice, those events were 55 years apart, both falling on Tuesdays. There can be no doubt that both of these instances were the work of mad science, not Mother Nature. As you learned early on, the word God has reverse ordinal gematria of 55. And as we have come to understand, the tyrants in high places are playing God over the sleeping masses, taking advantage of great technological capability, from powerful bombs in the ground to chemicals in the sky, thanks to flight, and also due to weather weapons such as HARP, something that has no reason to exist, yet the people allow and at the same time pay for with our tax dollars. On the subject of tornadoes, consider the film Twister came out in 1996, emphasis on 96, the number connecting to the gematria of Freemason as well as knowledge. It also released on the date May 10th, leaving 235 days left in the year, not unlike the infamous 23.5, a number we have come to know well. The degrees of the compass of the Mason logo, 23.5. With the numbers in mind, let us examine the gematria of Twister and tornado, both words yielding values of 33 in reduction gematria, the favorite number of Masonry and an important one to science, as we have uncovered up to this point. Think about what we learned about Darwin and Einstein, the latter of which was brought to the U.S. in the year 1933, and in the lone month summing to 33 in gematria on October 17th. Wow. Twister equates to 33 in reduction, and tornado equates to 33 in reduction as well. Wow. Here's a headline. It says, Irma is a nuclear hurricane and could leave homes uninhabitable. Irma is a nuclear hurricane, warns Florida mayor. Wow, okay. And just in case you're somehow doubting what has been presented in this chapter, all you need to do is open your eyes. When you do, you will notice the terminology that is being used in the media to describe the unprecedented weather phenomenon we are now experiencing across the globe points to everything that has been explained in this chapter. Consider in recent years, the mainstream media has used the terminology of nuclear storms, nuclear hurricanes, and bomb cyclones in the occurrence of devastating weather impacting all corners of the earth, causing loss of property and loss of life. For one of the many examples, notice in the headlines pictured the emphasis on nuclear hurricane, and I will show you that because he does have it in the headlines. Do have these statements emphasized with quotation marks. But anyway, can you see the... Uh-oh. I made it go... Sorry. Here we go. Where you can see it says Irma is a nuclear hurricane or whatever, but it has the quotation marks around it. Now I gotta... Oh, how in the hell? Sorry, you guys. I gotta get back to my page. I always hit the wrong one. Here we are. So now I gotta find my place again. So just bear with me. Okay. Okay, for one of the many examples, notice in the headlines pictured the emphasis on nuclear hurricane. As we covered to start the chapter, energy as well as nuclear and weapon have ordinal gematria of 74, which corresponds with the word hurricane, summing to 74 in Hebrew gematria. And the fact the qualifying wind speeds for a hurricane are 74 miles per hour. As a people, we need to understand that our governments have truly weaponized the weather, and we are the targets. We must do we must do this because, again, we are paying for this technology with our labor and our taxes, and in doing so we are paying for our own demise at the hands of psychopaths. While these people would never use our resources to feed and house the poor, look at the homeless epidemic in the United States and elsewhere. They will use the resources to kill them and you too. Bomb cyclone equates to 109 in ordinal. Military equals 109 in reverse ordinal. When you factor in that world militaries have admitted to detonating high altitude nuclear and atomic weapons for decades for the sake of studying their impact on weather, it becomes crystal clear what is being done. There can be no mistake about it. We are being experimented with as a people. And further, these admissions by governments about the need for population control provide the motive for why this experimentation is taking place. So please help spread the word, and don't worry about those who would call you crazy for speaking the truth. My gosh. It will be those who call you crazy now who will be the most grateful when they are brought into the light and realize you have done them a favor of seeing the forest for the trees. It is that insight, when spread to enough people, that will change the course of humanity. And I totally hope so, because I want to spread this information to as many people as I can. I hope you will give this video a like and a share, and I hope that my reading will prompt you to get the book. Read it for yourself. Read it and share it with your children. Share it with your friends. Share it with whoever you can, because this information needs to be known by every human being on earth, the common man and woman and child, the ones that are being taken advantage of by this code unknowingly. But gematria wakes you up to that and lets you know what is truly going on. And with that said, that is the conclusion of chapter 19, and the next chapter is chapter 20, Murder by Numbers, the Gematria Killing Code. And I believe this is the longest chapter in the book, but we will get through it together, and I will try my best to get through it as quickly as possible. But in the meantime, have a good day and enjoy the video so far, and please get these books and read it, and encourage your friends and family to get the book and read them as well. Alright, goodbye.